sorry, some information before to leave for this webinar. So my name is Chester Andrea, and I'm the person in charge for what about Dada. I'm a product and sales trainer for Dada, and we will discover together today all the novelties for what concerning the new collection 2020 Dada. As surely you know, this year there's no furniture fair, but we decide to share with all our clients all the details, all the novelties we already prepared for the missing fair of this year, in order to give something more, in order to give an extra boost, in order to push better the new products with our clients. So in order to give an extra boost to our proposal. From the news ahead, just us and a couple of other companies has a new collection for this year, and so just for this reason we have to take advantage from this new collection, from the novelties we already decided to share with you for what about the missing fair of this year. So we will leave just some information. I will open for every new items we will discover together the Q&A, so the occasion to give me questions. You can write on the Q&A area of your screen, so just clicking on this button, or writing directly in chat. In both cases, I will answer to all your questions, to all your doubts, obviously by live, in order to share with all of you all the details that represents a doubt just for somebody. So just a quickly introduction hat for what about this new collection with Dada. So so new collection for what about Dada, as I told you, just a quickly introduction hat to this presentation. So 3 keywords for what about Dada. So architecture, flexibility, and functionality. These will be the keywords for what about this presentation. Why architecture? Because always we are working these 2 different kind of spaces. We have to furnish 2 different kind of spaces. On the first case, the concentrated spaces where we need to take advantage from the ceiling height, and the big open space where we need to reorganize the spaces in order to let it authentic, sophisticated, intimate, but this space, but obviously with a good taste, with something that recalled the Italian taste and the Italian way to furnish our rooms, our environment. So in both cases, we need flexibility, because custom key is today more than ever. Custom key is today more than ever the key, because we need to adapt the furniture setup according to the real needs of our clients. Now, exclusively beautiful is no longer enough. We need to create a functional room, exclusively functional, but at the same time extremely beautiful. So only beautiful is no longer enough. We need more details for our space, for our spaces, for our environment. And functionality, because kitchen is the most convivial space of our house, our own home, and these have to be functional to the different moments of the day, starting from the lunch and the breakfast moment. But in kitchen, we will stay for conversate, to have a smart working section, for a lot of things more, not only to have lunch or but to conversate, for study. So kitchen has to be functional to the different moments of the day. day. This is our current placement of our product or of our proposal. On the on the left column, we will find all the kitchens available at the moment, starting with the Prime and in Dada that represents for us the entry-level kitchen approach, crossing through the central part of these columns with I-Line 6 VVD Vela trim that represents for us the top quality kitchens, and the new Ratio, Tivoli, and Banco that means for us the iconical production. These kitchens are in order of price, starting from the top, starting from the entry level, going to the iconical production. And on the right columns, we will find common elements units. So all these details, all these items that will be available for all these kitchens. And especially for what concerning these 2020 novelties, we will find in both cases something new to discover together. For what about the common elements, the Sistema XY, Sistema set doors, Sistema set wall units, and the columns 270, but then we will discover, we will go deepen with all these details. These are novelties for all these for all the kitchens, available for all the kitchens. This and for this reason, this represents novelties for the common elements chapter. At the same time, we will find a new kind of kitchen that in order of price have to be placed between I-Line 6 and I-Line 6 and VVD, and go deepen with this detail to let's discover this new concept kitchen. Actually, there isn't a definitive name, but doesn't matter for us today. We need to discover all the new details of this kitchen, because first of all, it's very interesting in terms of shape, in terms of aesthetical effect, but we have in this kitchen we have something new. This represents for us the new way to interpret the kitchen with the finger assessed. So as we can see from this picture, we are working with new kind of panels, new kind of doors, available with or without the inlaid workings that we will feel from this picture. So these inlaid workings are available in 4 different configurations, and the same is for what about the snack top here on the right. So we can create a dedicated and an extreme personal kitchens, because we can always match these details, the configuration of these 4 panels available, always in a different way. So there's probably your kitchens, the kitchens you will draw for your clients will be the only one, because you can choose all the different configuration for these panels. Obviously, in order to personalize, in order to customize the price too, we can choose between the panels with or without the inlaid, in this case, in order to save some money more. So why this kitchen is extremely important? So the working with the inlaid panels is extremely elegant. Obviously, there's nothing similar on the proposal of our competitor, and the way to apply the veneer sheets in this panel in different sense, so as we can see from these pictures, give us the possibility to have a different kind of playing with lights in the tone-on-tone situation, as we can see from this screen. One more extremely important detail is given by the detail of the finger assessed, that in this case can give us continuity with the countertop, as we can see from these pictures, or in another ways, in other situation, we can decide to give continuity to the panels, to the doors. This is extremely helpful in order to create other more different configuration in terms of shapes, in terms of aesthetical effect, but at the same time could be very interesting in order to give an extra boost to push easily this kind of product, because in this way we can personalize the price range too. So we can decide, I would like to give continuity to the countertop with the finger assessed with the stones. Yes, it's possible. I can decide to do the same, but deciding to giving continuity to the finger assessed at the panels using veneered is possible, and in this case, I will save a little money more. Otherwise, I can choose to create a different rhythm between this wide selection of materials, and decide to do the finger assessed profile in aluminum, bronze, titan, or pewter. And this represents in this way the cheaper way, the cheaper situation. Obviously, as I said, the panels are available with or without the inlaid. So as you can, is surely you can understand easily that the customization, we can personalize, we can customize this kitchen in a lot of ways. We are working with new kind of panels with the 45 degrees on top in order to have a very agile opening. 25 millimeters for what about the thickness, not the classic 19s that we 19 differently from what happens in all the other kitchens, except for Prime that admit the 25 millimeter thickness panel too. The 45 degree, not only for the top, but in the sides too, in order to create a perfect matching corner with the dedicated side panel. And for what about the side panel, obviously available in both the situation, with or without the inlaid workings. And in case of veneered, with the veneer, the real wood sheets applied in different sense in order to create a very interesting play with playing with lights. Very interesting details for what about the countertop, which has a dedicated shape for these new kitchens. Countertop, as we can see from the picture, available in two different situation. 50 millimeters thickness or 30 millimeter thickness. So in this picture is extremely clear the situation. On the left side, we are working with the 50 millimeter thickness countertop, and on the right side with the 30 millimeter thickness. So on this situation with 50, we can recognize all around the countertop just 20 millimeters, and on the bottom, as we can see from the picture, that the shape is inclinated in order to matching perfectly with the finger recessed. Then on the 30 millimeters countertop, we can realize all around the countertop just 4 millimeters. So it's extremely so the weight is completely different between these two kind of countertop. So for what about the finishes, this is a new kind of oak. We have that is called oak thermo, in order to increase the veneered option available on our proposal. Veneered, that represents for us a very interesting part of our sales, starting from the 1st of September, but in all for the orders we are ready before. We will increase the proposal of a veneer with this new oak thermo, and with this new kind of hybrid matte lacquered, as we can see from these from the picture. But for what regarding the finishes, we will go deepen at the end of this presentation. So let's check the main factors, so the strength point for this new concept kitchen that we will be ready for receive your orders in order. But before of this, obviously we will share with you the dedicated price list. We will be ready to receive your orders on the next 2 weeks, but we will start with production from the 1st of September, just to give you an idea of timing. Main features, strength point of this new concept kitchen: captivating and contemporary design, new interpretation, as I said, for the kitchen with the finger assessed, wide selection of different materials, woods, marble, lacquers, and in this way we can decide how to give continuity to the countertop or to the panels, or decide to give a completely rhythm, to create a breaking down between these situation with the titan, pewter, and bronze profile all around these kitchens. New kind of 45 edges on top for an agile opening, inlaid door, but as I said, we can choose the panels without inlaid in order to give an extremely clear graphical aspect to the kitchens. Worktop 50 and worktop 30. With the 50, we can recognize all around the countertop just 20 millimeters, and 4 in the other option. Thick neck top with inlaid decoration that recalled the same kind of shape, the same kind of workings that we will discover on the bottom of countertop. So feel the pleasantness on details. Both these surfaces has on the bottom the same kind of shapes that recall the kind of workings that we usually find on the precious stones. So that's the reason why we decided to put this kind of workings on marble. Just a quickly review in order to clarify our idea, and the question time for what about this new concept kitchen is open. Write directly the questions you will have on the Q&A area of your screen, or write it directly in chat. I will answer you live. Just a couple of minutes in order to reach as more questions as we can. Quickly review on the details. If you prefer, you can raise your hand with the dedicated key, and I will allow you to talk in order to give me your questions, your doubt directly by voice or typing. So if you prefer. So first question. We are talking only for an island solution, Anna. No, these base units will be available for the wall solution too, obviously. For what about columns and wall units? In this case, we can use the classic one of Eyeline 6 catalogs, for example. So in this case, the taste of base units will be in thickness 25 millimeters. For what about the columns and the wall units will be in 19 millimeters thickness. For what about the panels of the carcasses? In case you would like to match perfectly the thickness panel between base unit and wall units, you will find available on our price list the trim wall units that has the same kind of the same thickness, 25 millimeters on both cases. In this case, is this matching perfectly. For what about the columns, the same idea with trim will be available. In this case, you can choose between the dedicated trim handle or a classic kind of external handle that you will find on our price list at the end of common units chapter. So in order to resume, we are talking only for island solution. No, wall solution is available too. Let me check if on chat there's some other questions. No, seems okay. So other 30 seconds in order to reach some other questions. Don't hesitate to ask me something. I'm at your disposal. Seems that all is clear. So let's get back to us, and I will go on with one more new items. So Sistema XY, our partner for this new project, Mr. Francesco Meda, that has been expired from the Cartesian coordinates and create this kind of items available for all this kitchen. Here we are talking about a common elements chapter units. So this Sistema XY will be available for all the kitchen on our proposal, starting from the entry-level kitchen approach, going to the top quality kitchens. As we can see from these pictures done from Mr. Meda, these are items these items are dedicated for us, so is patented for us. You cannot find something similar on the proposal of our competitor because we have created by ourselves this kind of equipped channel, horizontal equipped channel, and in the same way these kind of pedestals, vertical pedestals. So sorry. In these picture we can realize the right way to contextualize this kind of Sistema XY. This is extremely helpful in order to create an intimate space on the cooking area, but in order to create a perfect matching, so create an intimate area in kitchen, but at the same time create a perfect matching with our guests, so with the people who are helping us during the cooking operation. In this picture we will discover a lot of options available for what about the Sistema XY. These kind of pedestals are available in three in three dimension, 40 centimeters, 70 centimeters, and 1 meter. For what about the 40, this dimension represents perfectly a situation between base units and the wall units, because we can contextualize this equipped channel obviously in an island composition as we are feeling from this picture, but at the same time between base unit and columns, and between base unit and wall units if we are working directly to to the wall. So underneath the wall units we can place this kind of equipped channel with pedestals. For what about the island, my suggestion is to work always with the 70 centimeters height, and we will use the 1 meter situation in this situation if we want, but is extremely addicted for the wall unit, for the wall composition, working in alternative of the in alternative for the wall unit. So on my opinion, 40 centimeters have to be placed between base unit and wall units. 70 is extremely good for the island situation, and 1 meter represents a good alternative to the wall units using, or can interest just a portion of kitchens, and the portion of kitchen left have to be furnished with the wall units if we think. So for what about finishes available in pewter, so one of our most sold metallic finishes, in order to personalize in terms of aesthetical effect or in terms of price, this kind of Sistema XY is available with or without the pedestals. Obviously, we can work only with the equipped channel in between base units or between base units and walls, and this equipped channel, and for this equipped channel there's a lot of accessories available, starting from the cutlery holder, this drainer for the cutlery or for the glasses, bottle trailer, chopping board. So there's a lot of accessories available for the equipped channel. For what about the positioning of shelves, we can decide where we are mounting, when we are mounting these kitchens, and we can decide directly in the place where we would like to fix these shelves. Light is an option. For what about the bottom of these shelves, we can decide to do with or without the lighting system. And for what about the top of shelves, in this case there is three different options available, with an insertion in wood, as we can see from this picture, with a stainless steel insertion, or without a classic kind of rubber made in black, the classic kind of carpet, sorry, made in black rubber. I forgot in the accessories for the equipped channel the socket for the electrical power, and we will find on the price list a basement for what about the taps. In this case, inside this horizontal equipped channel, we will mount a wide selection of downdraft hood. So in this case, our technical office has to check first of all if the downdraft hood you already decide is good for our equipped channel. As I said, 150 centimeter, 150 millimeters, the depth for this equipped channel, 195 if we are going directly to the wall. As I said, main features: accessorized channel 150 or 195, transversal system available for all the kitchens, available for island and wall composition. Equipped channel can hold a lot of different accessories. All the coverings of this equipped channel is available in Phoenix black ingo finishes. So we are not talking about a chipboard panel dressed with the Phoenix finishes, but in this case we are working with fully HPL panel, so there's no trouble, there's no issues with water. And for what about the water that could be lost from these accessories, I think the dish drainer, for example, underneath this equipped channel is available a kind of tank that recover all the water that could be lost from these accessories. As I said, design available with or without the pedestals, in order to give to the clients a lot of different configuration, and in order to personalize not only the graphical effect but the price too. With or without the pedestals, as I said, inside tank, in order to recover the water that could be lost from the accessories. Shelf with wood, with stainless steel, and with black non-slip rubber. optional LED, optional sliding elements has a snack table, chopping board, and drip collector, as we can see from these pictures. So connected directly to the channel, we can hold three different kind of accessories. This kind of snack table that can slide along all the width of this composition. A chopping board in the same time that at the same time have to be connected directly to the channel, or a drip collector that, on my opinion, have to be placed near very extremely close to the on the same side of the sink. As we can see from this picture, is extremely clear that it is extremely easy to change image to our kitchens, just sliding this extremely interesting kind of sliding table. In order to move it properly, is enough to push it upwards just some millimeters in order to slide it upstanding the legs that are going directly to the floor in this case. We kept some 3 millimeters between the countertop and the sliding the sliding snack table. As I said, all the coverings are made in fully HPL panel in Black Ingo Phoenix. Extremely interesting. And that's it. So just the last details then I will open the question time, that I will open the question time for this new item, for this new accessory. This kind of Sistema XY is available, could be contextualized in kitchen in three different ways. We can interest it the entire composition, crossing through all the composition, starting from the beginning to the end, as we can see from this picture. We can interest just a portion of the composition, starting from the beginning, and interest just a portion, give the leaving free, for example, the right side or the left side, so we can work in 180-degree with a free countertop. Or the third and the last option, we can interest just the central part of the kitchens, having 360 degrees all around the island, free, in order to work properly in the countertop. So three different options: entire composition, just a portion starting from the left side or the right side, or the third case, in the third case, these have to be placed directly in the middle, having 360-degree all around the island, free. And the same is for what about this system going directly to the wall. Let me check. Question time for what about the XY now is open. Just a couple of minutes in order to reach your question. I hope that there is some question about it. For sure, I forgot something to tell you. No question for the moment. Let me check on chat. Please don't hesitate to ask me anything. Oh, question. Good. in the image where we see the side of the island, the channel also cover the side panel. Is this obligatory? Is a good question, Sebastiano. So if you choose to interest the kitchens, the island in this case, with the option that interests the wall width of the island, in this case you always feel the channel going to the floor. Then if you would like to choose the other two option left, so interest just a portion, or to place the channel only in the middle, in this case, in the third option, if the channel is only in the middle, both the side panel are completely free. You cannot feel the depth or the of the channel. On the second option, so in case that this equipped channel interest and a portion starting from the beginning or starting from the left or the right side, the side panel left on the opposite side obviously remain extremely clean, just entire, without the breaking, without the breaking of the without the breaking of the channel. Yes, but we decide to give this idea of depth that have to be interpreted between both the side panels. So and in this case, all the space left between the base units represents a good technical vacuum for cables joining with pipes, gas pipes or water pipes. So these are extremely helpful, 15 centimeters. Other questions? No, seems that in chat nothing. Okay, so good. Let's get back to us with the next item. Then if you obviously if you need to ask me something about the previous items, there's no trouble during all the presentation. Then Sistema 7 wall units. This idea born by the successful idea of Glissmaster systems that surely we already know from the Molteni proposal, and we decided to add this good idea in kitchens too. This represents an extremely interesting in terms of shape and in terms of graphical effect wood units, with a lot of options available and dedicated for this kind of wall unit. So the strength point, the main feature of these wall units is given by the opening system that that overlap all the adjacent items. And in this case we need, if we are going at the end of the composition, 47 centimeters in order to open properly. Look at these images, in order to open properly this panel. So the opening is overlapping. As I said, we are going over the adjacent items with this kind, and we will open these wall units obviously sideways. Then, in terms of dimension, there's two different options in terms of height. So the 72.2 and 1 meter and 83 millimeters. That means for us a standard solution in terms of height. Then we can contextualize easily this kind of new wall units with all the other wall units coming from the previous proposal. In terms of height, we can contextualize it easily, but in terms of width, we are working with complete different modularity. In this case, there's a couple of options. Available, 98 and 1 meter 98. So for the first one, we have just a couple of panels that fold together, going sideways with this, as I said, an overlapping situation. And in case of 198, we have two couple of door side by side that will open on both, obviously on both sides. For this situation, my suggestion is to interpret always alone on the wall this kind of wall units, or this could be extremely interesting if we place it between shelves. So at the end and at the beginning is this could be extremely interesting with the shelves on the sides of both or one side. In terms of as I said, so the situation for what concerns the modularity in terms of width is completely different, so we cannot match perfectly with the base unit underneath. In this case, is extremely interesting and important. This is an extremely interesting and important detail for our knowledge about product. Please take care of this detail because it's extremely helpful. And then, for what about the depth? The nominal depth at the sides is the same of all the others wall units, but in this case, panels are stronger, bigger than the classic wall units. And in this case, we are working with panels 35 millimeters thickness. So these are the details that I already told you about dimension. So see a couple of panels and the single situation on 198 and 1 meter. 1 meter 83 millimeters and 72.2 millimeters for what about the height. Two configuration with the extraction wood or shelves. In order to contextualize properly these wall units with the hood, the hood have to be placed. It is available in three different position. These have to be placed in the middle, at the left, or at the right, in order to match perfectly with the cooktop underneath. And three different kind of panels, doors available for these Sistema 7 wall units. So the first one, aluminum frame all around and glass panel hollowed in the middle. The second one that represents a novelty is this one. Is the same kind of panels we already discovered with the aluminum frame all around and the glass inside, but with a lot of vertical slats in order to give a completely different taste to this kind of panels. And the fully thickness doors available in Phoenix, matte lacquer, special metallic lacquer, and wood, except for teak and palm. And the same rule is available for the panel with the vertical slats. So aluminum frame with glass, and the vertical slats, and the fully thickness panel with Phoenix, matte lacquer, glossy lacquer, special lacquer, and wood, but not teak and palm. In terms of in terms of customizing, in order to personalize it in terms of price, we can decide for three different options for what about the carcasses. The carcasses all around could be in melamine, the cheaper one, wooden effect, or in wood or in matte lacquer. And for what about the internal partition, these are available in matte lacquer and in wood and in veneer. So obviously, with the same rule are available for the bottoms, and we can decide to put or not the LED light inside. So just a quickly overview in order to reach some question about it, if there is something not clear, but then obviously you can metabolize all these information on the next day and write me at the webinar at molteni.it, and I will answer you, and I will reply you back as soon as I can. Some questions about the Sistema 7. No, seems that there's no question. Good. So with the same quickly overview. So two different options available with a couple of doors or with two couple of doors, glass, vertical slats, and fully thickness panel, veneered and matte lacquered the finishes inside, and the carcasses all around, just a frame all around, could be in melamine too, in order to personalize properly, to personalize the price too, not just the shapes. If we would like to contextualize, if we would like to place to use this kitchen alone on the wall, there's a couple of side panels 10 millimeters dedicated for these wall units available. Okay, configuration with the hoods that have to be placed in three different position. Two different situation for what about the width, two for the height, 183, 7 and 72.2. Three different kind of panels, as I said. No questions. So let's get back to us, and we will find these kind of Sistema 7 doors that represents an very interesting ways to create architecture on our environments, because with the same successful idea we already used for the Sistema 7 wall units that burns that born by the Glissmaster wardrobes on the Molteni that we already know from the Molteni proposal. In this way, we apply this successful idea to this kind of panels, helpful to create, as I said, architecture on our environments, and extremely helpful in order to divide rooms, divide spaces, to hide the kitchens if you would like to do this. So in this case, we can divide the living area from the kitchens, and we will find these kind of new panels available with the same kind of openings as we can see from this picture, in three different options in terms of height. So we are 240, 270, and 3 meters. In this way, we can create a good partition of spaces using this kind of panels. So as we can see, this option is available in two different situations in terms of width, with just a couple of panels or with two couple of panels. And in order to be contextualized on a best way, we can we create a lot these three kind of columns in order to contextualize these panels properly. So not only panels in order to divide the spaces, but in this case three kind of new columns in order to contextualize this the previous panel I showed you. So Sistema 7 panels, Sistema 7 doors could be contextualized properly between two walls, between two columns, or between one column and the wall. For this reason, you will find on the new price list three kinds of new columns dedicated for this situation, for this project, with the same height. So columns store a new kind of storage unit with 2 meter 40, 2 meter 70, and 3 meter height. So please be careful in this with this detail, because this kind of columns is available for what about the storage unit, a classic kind of storage unit, or an oven unit. These three kinds of new columns are not available for the fridge column, because in this case we need to keep the space between the appliance and the floor, because appliance need to breathe. So properly just for this reason, the columns with fridge have to be placed inside the classic kind of fits available in two dimensions, 6 and 10 centimeters. So storage unit and oven unit available for these three kind of columns. Not the same. What about the fridge? Because in this case we need to save, we need to keep the space between the appliances and the floor in order to let the appliances breathe properly. As we can see from these previous pictures, we keep 5 millimeters between the panels and between the columns. So these are the panels that hide the kitchens. This is an aluminum frame in order to divide settings um, of the room. And here we are starting. This is the beginning of the storage unit. So you can feel here in the middle the vertical finger recess in order to open properly this panel. These are columns and these are panels. That's it. 240, 270, 3 meters. Not for fridge, just storage unit and oven columns. Obviously, there is a new kind of fits that have to be placed on this kind of on these columns for the bottom in order to save spaces. The panels will be entire. The wood panel is available in the 3 meter too. No questions about it. In chat. Good, perfect. A quickly overview: panels, doors, and columns. 3 different situation in terms of height. The made-to-measure solution here is not admitted. This could be extremely interesting because looking at this project under a commercial point of view, these could represent a good and new option at the Tivoli, for example. We are working with kitchen that have to be placed inside a niche. In this case, with a lower depth, we can hide all the furniture for the kitchens in order to dividing it from the living area. So for this kind of situation, this could be extremely interesting. So let's speak about this the range extension for what about Ratio. As we surely know, Ratio is already available in this in the island situation that you will find on the obviously on the 2020 price list. But now we create we have a complete program for what about Ratio 2. These are the new base units going directly to the floor for the Ratio program. Here we are working with carcasses 80 centimeters, panel 13 millimeters with a dedicated kind of handle placed on top with 28 millimeters thickness. But here the latest novelties is given by the rhythm we decide to give this composition. So as we can see from the picture, every base unit have to be divided from the previous one from a panel 16 millimeter thickness that give this composition an extremely new taste. we are creating carcasses by carcasses, a frame on both sides, and that will join, that will match perfectly with the same depth of the handle on top. We create this kind of plane. Let me check. Frame, panel, handle, frame, and the same is for for all the other base units next to each other. So 16 millimeters between every carcasses give a new rhythm, and you give a new rhythm to the base unit. And as you can see from the pictures, these panels divide the skirtings too. This is a novelty. This is extremely new for what about kitchen. There's nothing similar on the proposal of our competitor, and in this case we are working always with a 90 millimeters countertop, so shapes are extremely strong in this kitchen. We kept the idea of the terminal sink, as we can see from the picture, and for what about the terminal base unit, so outside the panel, with a dedicated kind of panels here underneath the sink in order to close it properly all around. The same kind of vertical slatted panel will be available for the base unit in the Ratio. So aluminum frame all around, glass panel, and vertical slats for the base unit too. In this case, we are working with 80 centimeters for what about the height of carcasses, and this kind of slatted panels are available for all the kitchens that admit the carcasses 80 centimeters. In this case, we are talking about Ratio, Trim, and in Dada. So with obviously with the same depth of 35 millimeters for what about the thickness of panel. Speaking about wall units and columns, for what about the Ratio extension range? In this case, we will use the same kind of columns and the same kind of wall units we already used for I-line 6 for I-line 6 collection, for the I-line 6 proposal. But in this case, please take care that the space that this panel on the base takes, so 16 millimeters, have to be saved for what about the wall units too. So the rhythm for what about base unit, for what concerning base units and wall units, have to be the same. So carcasses, panel, and go on for base unit and for the wall units. Same situation for the columns, but in this case we can create a new rhythm given by the vertical finger assessed or by an external handle. So it's up to, obviously it's up to your project. Both situation will be obviously available. So expansion of the range is coming also for Ratio. Now, this is not a replacement for what about the island situation, but we increase the Ratio proposal with the base units going directly to the floor. So both situation, island and the classic one, this one, the latest one, so will be both available. 16 millimeter, as I said, the panel that created the rhythm, that give us the rhythm between the carcasses. Door 13 millimeters, as we already know for the Vela 14, but in this case the edges all around will be always dressed, so we cannot feel the internal composition of panel. So all edges dressed, and the external handle that have placed on top on panel that takes 28 millimeters in terms of depth. Exclusive base unit with a slatted door, as I told you. Same rules for this kind of slatted dot, slatted doors. These panels will be available in all the veneered finishes except for Palma and Teak. Work toppers, neck topper, overlap, and we kept the same taste we already give to the island with the terminal sink at the end of at the head on the head of composition. Some question, but seems that there's no question. So I will let me check on chat, please. Let's wait just a couple of minutes if you would like to ask me something. If you don't want to type your question, you can raise your hand and I will allow you to talk in order to give me all your questions and doubt directly by voice without typing. No question. Good. So let's go quickly. Let's go quickly to the end of this presentation. Textiles and finishes, not only items for both the big family of our proposal, not I'm speaking about the kitchens and the common units chapter in this case, but there's a lot of novelties for what concerning the finishes too. In this case, we will find for the doors, for the panels, 4 different kinds of new bilaminates. In this case, the first one, grigio cadetto gray, that we will find on price range number 1 is a new kind of light gray. This kind of finishes, this kind of taste was missing on the previous proposal. Now we decide to put this new kind of light gray on the price range number 1, so it's a cheaper finish. And for what about the price range number 2, we have these 3 new finishes: lino, hash gray, and lava. So these are always bilaminates, but in this case we will find these 3 new finishes on price range number 2. As for the laminates, these are a new kind of finishes with a soft touch effect that represents an extremely good, interesting alternative to the Phoenix. Why? Because the soft touch effect seems the same, but in this case we are saving 2 price range than the Phoenix. These are extremely good in touching, but is extremely cheaper than the Phoenix proposal. So good option for what about price and the touch effect of these bilaminates. For what about VVD? This is very dedicated for VVD metal. This metal, titan steel, that represents a new good option for the VVD panels with the Ferrovia stainless steel. So here we are working in category price number 10. So it is extremely rich, fine, elegant finishes. So dedicated for the VVD, price range number 10, only for VVD, Titan steel and Ferrovia steel. This is the new option, a good alternative at the Ferrovia stainless steel. 3 new kind of real stone. Here we are speaking about 3 kind of new marbles. In this case, Breccia Capraia, the first one, that seems a Carrara white, but this is extremely more white than the Carrara, because all the Carrara is just a little bit more gray than this one. This is extremely white, extremely clean white. The Jolie gray that we already seen on the XY pictures on the previous pictures, and the Travertino Titan. So 3 kind of real stones available for obviously for all the kitchens. We have seen the Breccia Capraia on the Razio picture. Breccia Capraia is this one. This is Breccia Capraia, so it is extremely more white than the Carrara one. Jolie Gray on the previous picture with the XY, and the Travortino Titan that in this presentation is missing. So for what about woods? The black, this no, not black, sorry. The oak thermo, as I told you, with the new concept kitchens. So this is sample image is not obviously is not true, but we already discovered these new kind of finishes in the pictures regarding the concept kitchens. And as we have already seen in the same concept kitchen, two new kind of metallic lacquered finishes. So these two finishes are called hybrid. Metallic kind of matte lacquer, as I said as I already said, but in this case, we are working in price range number 8, not in price range number 6, as for all the other special metallic lacquer left. In this case, gold, titan, pewter, and bronze remaining price range number 6. For what about these two, the latest two finishes, so hybrid bronze and hybrid slate, we are working in, we are placed in category price number 8. For what about 2020 novelties for Dada, for me, that's all. If you want to ask me something, I remain at your disposal for a couple of minutes or more if you require. So, Sebastiano, on the Sistema 7 wall unit, there was a chestnut finish in the image. Is that a new finish on the Sistema 7 wall unit? Let me check the image. Sistema 7 wall unit. Probably you are speaking about the finishes here on the back. This is the oak thermo, the new one. Probably let me check on the Q&A. Yes, this one. This is the oak thermo. This is the latest finishes. So obviously, I know that you feel a big difference that from this image, from this one, but consider that this is a render, and the one you have seen on the Sistema 7 is a real image. So the real finish of the real finishes, the real finishing for the oak thermo is this one. This is the real one. I understand your doubt about it. It's true. Okay. Let me check on chat if there is some other questions. No questions on chat. Okay. Close here. Just a quickly overview going down to the end. So you know perfectly that me and all the staff remain at your disposal for the further information you might need about this this webinar. So you can write all the things you may need to my personal address for the people who know it. Otherwise, at webinar@molteni.it, I will reply you back as soon as I can on the next days. So for me, it's all. I hope that this my intervention this my intervention could be fruitful for full of fruitful information and helpful for the work of everybody in the future. for all the things left and for all the information you, as I said, you may need in the future, we remain at your disposal. Thank you, and bye bye. Thank you for the attention you have given me in this 1 hour together.